He who stays in me and I in him,
Stay in me.
he bears fruit, much fruit.
8.
Because without me, you are able to do naught.
8.
Sorry,
Listen to that. Stay in me. Stay in me. That's going to be a repeated theme. If you want to read this throughout, I started at chapter 12, 11 or 12, and I went through about 16. It's not chopped up pieces as we would just take 3 or 4 verses out, in our traditional. But this is, the context of this is a little bit longer than just 3 or 4 verses for you to really understand what's going on here. So this whole thing is an event. Go ahead.
In this my Father is esteemed, that you bear much fruit, and you shall be my taught ones.
9.
As the Father has loved me, I have also loved you. Stay in my love.
Stay. He's telling us to stay. And there's a very particular reason, and I want you to really cue in on stay in me. Because he stays in the Father. If you stay in me, I'll stay in you. Okay? So hold on to that. Let's go to 14, and then we're going to move. Verse 14.
You are my friends if you do whatever I command.
15.
No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends, for all teachings which I heard from my Father I have made known to you.
Now, we're going to go to that paper that I have, the vine. Now, we're going to connect this to fruit, and we're going to look at fruit and the activity of fruit, the contents, and see what's going on. I want you to understand that he's making a connection for us when he says in verse 14, and that's 15:14, you are my friend. Who is he connecting to? Abraham.
Yes.
He's going back to Abraham. And this is what? 1,500 years later, he's letting you know that you are still the seed of Abraham. And I am the promise that was given back in the garden. Starting to see it all come together, because remember when they fell, Adam and Eve, he says, I shall put an enmity between your seed and his seed. Well, excuse me. He was talking to Yahweh, God. He was speaking to Hasatan, Satan. And he said, I shall put an enmity between your seed, which was the female, and his seed, which was Satan. And I'll get to that later. I'll talk a little more on that but later. I just want you to see the connection that it was given to Abraham because he called him friend. And now there's a continuation of seeding. And let's see how. And I'm just going to, Ravis is going to read this. And let's go ahead and turn the light off, because this one, I want to get to what I need to get to. So I'm really not going to say a whole lot here. This is going to be the closeout part of this part.
Okay.
That's okay. Let's go with it.
Vine and the branches. Rootstock from Wikipedia Encyclopedia. A rootstock is a plant, and sometimes just the stump, which already has an established, healthy root system used for grafting a cutting or budding from another plant. The tree part being grafted unto the rootstock is usually called looks like the skull, the scion. The scion is the plant which has the properties desired by the propagator. Plant propagation is the process of creating new plants from a variety of sources: seeds, cuttings, bulbs, and other plant parts. Plant propagation can also refer to the artificial or natural dispersal of plants. The rootstock is the working part which interacts with the soil to nourish the new plant. After a few years, the tissues of the two parts will have grown together, producing a single tree. The use of the rootstock is most commonly associated with fruiting trees and trees, but is the only way to mass propagate many types of plants that do not breed true from seed or are particularly diseased, susceptible when grown on their own roots. A variety of rootstocks is used for the same scion species because they impart different properties to it. Maybe a picture of the 12 tribes, such as vigor, fruit size, and precocity. Rootstocks are also selected for traits such as resistance to drought, root pests, and diseases. Now, did you put maybe the picture of the 12 tribes in there?
I did.
That was inserted, so that's not part of Wikipedia.
Right, this is inserted, and I wanted to bring your attention of. This may be something that we're seeing in the tribes, and if you can imagine, he tells us that he's the true vine. So what I did is I wanted to find out about vines and branches. A vine can grow on a rock because what it has, the system that it goes through, and I think I do. I have a picture that's going there. You'll see with the picture, if you bring it up a little bit, that it can go as fingers, or the buds, they go outward. And that straight part is a wire leading it in a certain direction. So what they do is they just go out and they reproduce. The buds, sometimes they will look as though during the wintertime they will seem to be dead, but that's where the fruit will come from when springtime happens, and then form a canopy for everything else, the fruit itself and everything else to come into place. So without me going through too much through this, so I don't run out of time, I just want you to continue to listen